So picture this, 90 days exploring the northeastern part of the United States. We're embarking on a fall tour to see the leaves as well as American history. Now, 90 days in this part of the country, you are running against some of the most expensive overnight campground sites. The average anywhere between 70 and 80 a night with full hookups. For us, that's over $6,000 in just overnight stays. But what if I told you that you could do the same thing for less than $10 a night? And have a secret weapon that helps you plan everything. I've been using a tool that almost nobody uses in planning your trips. So stay tuned. I'm going to dive into that and show you exactly how I did it so that you can do it too. So I'm about to show you how we pulled off this 90-day epic adventure without breaking the bank. And if you love RVing like we do, but can't stand the increasingly high costs of campground fees, well, stay tuned because you're going to love what I have to share. I'm going to walk you through exactly how we saved thousands of dollars by combining the right membership and how using our secret weapon, planning the entire trip, made it a breeze. Now, trust me, it's a game changer. Now, here's the thing. Campground costs, they can add up and they can add up quickly. Think about it. An average nightly RV cost is going to run you around $70, $80, $90 depending on where it's located, close to an attraction, the beach or whatever. And sometimes that's just for basic sites. And if you multiply that by 90 days, ouch, that's almost $6,000 in campground fees alone. All right, so here's where the magic happens. I signed up for Thousand Trails membership, which gave us access to over 80 campgrounds across the United States. We're able to stay in these incredible locations all across the country without paying even a single cent at check-in. Each park has its own vibe. Some are tucked away in the woods, while others are close to lakes or beaches, but they all have amenities that you need for a comfortable stay. Full hookups, laundry, Wi-Fi, you name it. Now, booking, this is where it can get a little tricky, but here's the secret weapon. Most people are not using ChatGPT to plan their trips. By combining the power of ChatGPT with the Thousand Trails network, it's going to help you to manage. In fact, when I was on the phone with a customer service representative from Thousand Trails booking a few of the stays that said call to book, she was amazed by how far I had done it. And most people don't go into this depth, but it made it super easy. And I could see the complexities with everything that you don't want to do it without the assistance of ChatGPT. But take, for example, that you're not in the Thousand Trails network and you just want to plan a trip from point A to point B. Let's just do an example here of you want to go from San Antonio, Texas to New Orleans, Louisiana. Now, I personally subscribe to the rule of three, so we're going to use my criteria to complete this search. Now, what I mean by the rule of three is that I don't like to travel more than 300 miles or 3 hours at a time. And I like to stay in a place for at least 3 days. And so that's what full-time RVers generally follow as a guideline. I do not like having to pull in my rig into a gas station. Now, truck stops are easy, but sometimes when you're in small towns and things like that, you don't know if that gas station is going to be able to get your rig in there, fit your rig. And I just don't like taking that chance. Let's take this trip for an example. If you're a full-time RVer, you're going to have some trip planning software. And I'm no different. I do use RV Life as my main trip planning software of where I know that I'm going to be at, where I know I'm going. I used to use this exclusively until I found this little hack. Now, this little hack has saved me a ton of time in doing the research, and I love it. But when you combine the power of ChatGPT or AI along with RV Life Trip Wizard, it's like a superpower that you have that you never had before. And it's so fun and it's awesome. Let me show you exactly how it works. Just jump over here to ChatGPT and I punch in what I want. I get as specific as possible. Planning an RV trip from San Antonio, Texas to New Orleans, Louisiana. I'd like to drive about 300 miles or 3 hours a day and stay about 3 days at a time. My rig is 40 feet. Now, this is very, very important if you have big rigs because you want to be shown only at sites that allow big rigs. I'd like to stay in campgrounds that are less than $50 a night. Now, this is important, but not as important to put in a price because prices are changing constantly, whether you're season, off season. And I don't really know where ChatGPT is pulling its data from or how old the data is. But really, this is just to help get an itinerary. And then I'll show you how I do the research off of this. So can you help me plan my route? ensure that I can reserve online and give me the links to the website. I love this feature right here because I love to be able to go to sites that I can reserve online. I hate having to email somebody to check their availability and they get back to me if they get back to me in 1 or 2 days. The 90s called and they want their websites and reservation system back from some of these campgrounds. Anyways, I digress. This is the prompt that I use. You're free to use that. I'll post that in the description below, as long as some other tips and valuable things that I use as well. I just punch it in and let's see what happens. Let the AI do the work for me. And here we go. You guys know it is as fast as possible. I'm always amazed by how fast it can bring me back my specific answers that I need. So it says, let's plan your RV trip from San Antonio to New Orleans, hitting some great spots within your distance and budget preference. Here's a few campgrounds that you might consider. All right, so stop one is a little bit too short for me. So I'd say, hey, I just simply put in stop one is too short. I'd like to be about 3 hours drive time. So let's see what it comes back. All right. So now it says, hey, let's go to Houston, right? And so we know there's a plenty to choose from around the Houston area because it's a major city. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to come over here and I'm going to grab this. And I personally will go to RV Trip Wizard, punch in the park in Houston right there. And then just look at the details. Now, 7.3 out of 10 is really good. I'm going to come over here and the first thing I need, now it's Houston, so I know the internet's going to be good. I'm not worried about that. But if it was a small town, I would double check and make sure the internet is good because I need that to work. Come over here to the reviews and it says nightly price as of May 24 was $55, which is awesome. So it's right in where I was saying with ChatGPT. Now I can come back here and click on the website to book from RV Life. But if I don't have that, I can also click on the ChatGPT and it takes me right to the website. Now I just go to book now because I've told the AI that I want to be able to book through the reservation system. Come over here, you can see your availability. We'll pick one. It says here that it's $66 a night. And if you're going to stay a week, you're going to get a better rate than just staying one night at a time. This definitely helps plan my trip because now I know the area that I'd like to be in. And since I know the area that I'd like to be in, RV Trip Wizard is a little bit more accurate and I can start to peruse around. One of the cool things that I always will do if I'm going to an area like Lake Charles. So Lake Charles, where maybe I don't know that area very well because I've never been. Give me some interesting things to do. Lake Charles, Louisiana. I love doing this because it gives me things like interesting things that I may have not even thought about, right? So you can visit the nature trail, check out Mardi Gras Museum, right? I didn't even know they had a Mardi Gras Museum. Hit the casinos. So if you want to play the casinos, they have casinos there. And then you can get a little more granular as to if I'm a big hiker or nature lover and say this state park offers hiking trail, picnic areas, boat rentals, plus the chance to spot wildlife, deer. And so what's cool. So my wife and I, we love the outdoors. We love the hikes. So I said, what is the most popular hikes in the area? And I love that it gives me some highlights. I love this right here. It says the trail is part of the nature, is a national scenic byway and offers a combination of driving and walking experiences. Along the routes, you'll find numerous spots to get out of your car, hikes, short boardwalk trails, and Louisiana marshes and prairies, right? It's the best way to experience the wetlands, spot alligators, birds, and wildlife in their natural habitats. Love that. Difficulty is easy. So I love using the AI to get really granular on spots that I'm going at, and I have no idea. We've done that just recently on a bunch of our places, and it's made our stays that much more interesting when I can get out and see what's all about. So I absolutely love combining AI in my trip planning. Now you can see how fast, efficient, and effortlessly the AI can plan your trip. By combining the power of AI with RV Life, you can start to hone in on some of the best spots. Look at the pictures through RV Life, judge for yourself if this is a good place or not. But ChatGPT will give you a good itinerary. Now, let's kick it up a notch. The thing that has saved me the most money is combining the power of RV Life, ChatGPT, and the Thousand Trails network on the East Coast. So if you're on the East Coast or anywhere where there's 1,000 trails, this is going to save you a lot of time, energy, and money. Now I'm going to tell you, this is the tricky part because most membership sites have rules, right? Their own rules that they create, and you got to learn how to navigate within those rules. And it's no secret that Thousand Trails is no different than that. And sometimes that's the pro or the cons that keep people away from Thousand Trails is it gets too complicated and too complex. And then they're like, well, I can't really use it when I want to use it because there's no availability. And so therefore I'm not going to spend money to use something that I can't even access, right? And so that's the big complaint that I've seen out there with Thousand Trails. Now, again, as a full-time RVer, I'm trying to get to an area, but I don't have to be in a specific city, town, or something like that because I'm not visiting family. I'm just traveling the United States. So I have a little bit more flexibility with this. If you have flexibility in your route planning plans and you just want to do it on a dime, let me show you how I was able to combine, again, the power of ChatGPT, Thousand Trails, and RV Life. So inside Thousand Trails, their rule states in their basic membership plan, their rules state that if you are staying in a Thousand Trails membership site, that if you exceed a 4-day stay limit, then you have to leave the network, the Thousand Trails network, for at least 1 week. Okay, so I understood this rule when I signed up that if I exceed 4 days, I have to leave. I cannot go from park to park. I have to stay somewhere for 1 week, and then I can come back in and stay. So now here's the complexity. We also have an add-on called an Encore, which gives you a in-network and some other campgrounds that are out of network, but they'll still are covered in your membership. We upped it to the Encore site, and this is where it gets a little bit tricky, but the power of AI really showcased here. If you have the combination of the basic membership plus the Encore package, you cannot go from Trails to Encore and then to another Encore site. If you stay at an Encore site one night, then you have to stay out of the network for 1 week. This was my prompt to help me come up with an itinerary of where I'd like to go. Keeping with the same theme of going from San Antonio, Texas to New Orleans, here's the prompt that I would use in order to get what I need back from ChatGPT. I could go from Thousand Trails to Thousand Trails Park if I stay less than 4 days. But if I visit an Encore park in the Thousand Trails network, I need to stay 7 days out of the Encore sites. But I can go back into the Thousand Trails Park. When planning, we can add an Encore park, then 2 Thousand Trails parks in a row. Now, like I said, this is where the complexity comes in. So having this prompt, and I'll put this down in the description, is really helpful if you have the Encore, or if you don't, you just strip that part out of the prompt and say just the Thousand Trails network, right? Because if you stay 4 days and 4 days, you can do that. So I just punched that in, and let's see what it does. And here it says, comes back, here's the plan that keeps you within the Thousand Trails network as much as possible, following your preferences. This route includes a mix of Thousand Trails and Encore parks, adhering to your rule that staying less than 4 days at Thousand Trails parks and ensuring a 7-day gap after an Encore park. The first place we're going to be staying is in Houston. It's about a 3-hour drive. Then you got about a 2-hour drive, right? And here's the thing is that once you're a member, these sites are included in your membership. So if you're paying the membership fee of anywhere from $50 to $100 a month, it's included. You can stay here and you don't ever have to leave that. So you could do this whole trip from, up here we had 5 stays, and you can see that it's about $60, maybe $70 a night. If you can get it at $50 a night, you can keep finding that if you're trying to be on a budget, and you get it at $50 a night, let's say 3 nights following that rule of 3, that comes to about 15 stays just to get to your location. You're about $750 with those 15 nights. But if you combine the power of Thousand Trails, so here's the price. So you get one region, which is the Texas region, and then we added the Encore parks to get unlocking across the nation. If you add the $580 plus the $425, that comes out to about $1,000. That's $1,000 for a year of camping versus $750 for just 15 nights. You're starting to see how this can be very powerful and budget friendly. Then if you want to, you can break that up into monthly payments. Let's do that for this example's sake. We're going to combine the 580 plus the 425, divide that by 12 months. That comes about to $83.75 a month for camping. The problem with that is that it's not always available, right? You have to work on availability. But if you're going for 1, 2, 3 nights at a time, your availability is greatly increased. When you can do it midweek, it's even more increased. And if you happen to stay 2 weeks out of the entire year, well, it more than covers what you paid for the entire year. So that's why, for me, Thousand Trails just makes sense. Let's go back to our route planning and let's plan this route. Then we're looking at, for just $83 in a month, for $83, we're staying at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 places for 3 nights for $83. To me, that's a no-brainer. Now, I want to share with you exactly what we did. And we wanted to go up to Maine. As you can see, there is a ton of different options that we had for us. We wanted to stay inside the Thousand Trails network. We opted to add a second location on for another $110, or a second area of the United States. And that unlocked all of the Thousand Trails campgrounds up on the Northeast. So I'm like, for $110 for an entire year, yeah, 1 or 2 nights is going to cover that. So it made a lot of sense for us to do that. This is our itinerary and this is our trip. My wife and I wanted to plan a fall trip to up to Maine to see the leaves. And along the way, we wanted to stop at some American history tour sites like Gettysburg, Washington, D.C., Boston, and just take in that American history, something that I've never done before and something we've always wanted to do. And up in the northeastern part of the United States, RV sites and campground spots can get ridiculously higher than just about anywhere else in the country. So it made sense for us to add an additional package for $110 with the Thousand Trails network that opened up more campgrounds for us. We ended up staying at over 14 different campgrounds, and only 2 of them were outside the network of the Thousand Trails. Now, one of them was because it didn't have availability, so we had to choose somewhere else. And another one was because we're staying more than 4 days at one place, so we needed to be out a week. We decided to stay 10 days at one campground, and so that we're out a full week. So by choice, we chose another one was due to the availability. So 14 different sites, and only 2 of them were not included in our membership. So 12 sites in totality were included in the membership. That is honestly doing it on a dime. Really, it comes out to about $93 a month that we're paying. And in 90 days, we're paying $278 in membership fees. And the rest in other campground fees, we're spending $680 for a 90-day stay in some of the most expensive parts of the country. That's incredible. That's insane. That is mind-boggling. And that is the best way to full-time RV, in my opinion, is try to stay within the network. If you're not boondocking, this is the next best thing to staying at premium sites and doing it on a dime. And remember, if you want to follow our journey to DC, Gettysburg, New York, and beyond, we'll be dropping new videos every week as we move from park to park. So make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell to get notified, as you don't want to miss any of our upcoming adventures. By using Thousand Trails and combining the power of ChatGPT, we were able to plan this epic trip and stay at some amazing parks. And also, saving thousands of dollars. So if you're an RVer or thinking about hitting the road, I would highly recommend giving this a try. So thanks for watching. Happy travels. And remember, always keeping that movement in motion.